Everybody. It's 10 o'clock. I'd like to declare this meeting of the Audit and Governance Subcommittee as open. I think for the record, I'd like to go around the table just so people can introduce themselves. My name is John Pye. I am Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee, and I'm Chair of this subcommittee today. I just warn you that you need to make sure the sequencing of putting the microphones on doesn't nab you. To my right.
I'm Simon Smith. I'm a member of the Audit and Governance Committee and member of this subcommittee.
Good morning. I'm Councillor Andy Coles, also a member of the Audit and Governance Committee and this subcommittee.
I'm Councillor Mark Inskip, so I'm member of Audit and Governance Committee and substituting this time on the subcommittee.
I'm Mayor Dr. Nick Johnson, and that's Mayor of the Combined Authority.
My name is Leila Zamanpour, and I'm a solicitor of Edwards of Ishamash.
Anne Gardner, Governance Manager for Combined Authority.
Alison Marston, Head of Democratic Services at the Combined Authority.
Nick Bell, Executive Director of Resources and Performance at the Combined Authority. Rob Bridge, Chief Executive of the Combined Authority.
Gillian Holmes, Deputy Independent Person appointed by the Authority to assist with standard matters.
Marina Rujam, Head of Legal and Deputy Monitoring Officer.
I'm Mark Heath, I'm a solicitor. I work at VWV and I'm the investigator of this matter.
Edwina Defainty, Interim Monitoring Officer for the CPCA.
Thank you, everybody. Apologies. I have apologies from Councillor Graham Wilson, who is substituted by Councillor Mark Inskip, as Mark said. Declarations of interest. At this point, members must declare whether they have a disclosable pecuniary interest or other interest in any items on the agenda, unless it is already entered in the register of members' interests. And I mean members of the panel by this.
Just a minute for the record, I should make it aware that I have met the investigator before, as I was a councillor on Southampton City Council between 1991 and 1998, when he was the Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer for that authority. That doesn't affect my participation in this, but I think it's just important to record that.
Thank you very much, Mark. Now move on to item 3, in which the hearing panel, we need to determine whether the confidential report should be considered in public. I will now go round first to the Mayor, then to the investigator, and then to the legal advisor to the panel to ask whether you would like us to exclude the press or the public from all or any part of the hearing. And in doing so, could you say your reasons? Start with you, Mayor.
So, on behalf of Mayor Johnson, our position. Oh, okay. Is that better?
It's not easy.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of Mayor Johnson, our position is that the consideration of the report should go into exempt session, and that there is scope for that, for the panel to make that decision within the Constitution, noting in particular paragraph 10.23 the Constitution, which sets out that the public may be excluded from a meeting whenever it is likely that there will be disclosure to them of exempt information. I think the content of the report addresses several forms of exempt information, and I think that it would not be in the public interest for that information to be discussed in public session. I would also make points on natural justice and the right for a full consideration of the information within that report to be discussed without those concerns of breaching aspects of exempt information and disclosing aspects of exempt information in an open sphere. So our position is that it should be considered in exempt session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the investigator for his comments in the same point.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd certainly support what Ms. Zamanpour has just said. From my perspective, in terms of producing the report and placing it before you, obviously there's the comments of a number of witnesses who would not expect their comments to be aired and discussed in public, but would be wanting you to give full consideration and have the opportunity to do that in a way where you could freely ask questions and express views. And I think that can only be done in exempt session for the reasons already stated. So I would urge you to go into exempt session for the purposes of your debate, discussion and deliberations, noting that your procedure provides for you to provide a public decision notice at the end of the process, which I think is an entirely appropriate way of proceeding once you've had those discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll ask my legal advisor.
Thank you, Chair. My view is the same as the representative of the Mayor and the independent investigator. The subject matter of discussion contains exempt information, which falls within the definition of exempt information under the relevant legislation that governs local authorities. Also, there are considerations that the panel should have to the welfare of the complainants and the witnesses and the statements they've made. Thirdly, there hasn't been written confirmation from those witnesses that there matters, and their statements should be published at a public hearing. The CPCA exposes itself to risks if these sort of matters are discussed in public without due consideration and due regard given to the welfare of the persons and the named individuals in this report. There are also data protection considerations. There will be breaches of GDPR if details of named individuals are made published. Those would be my submissions. The investigator and the lawyer for the Mayor has made reference to your powers in the Constitution and also under the legislation that I mentioned earlier. Thank you, Chair.
We'll do that again. Exclusion of the press and public matters for consideration in private. That's item 4. In accordance with standing orders, the panel has to determine whether item 5 and 6 on the agenda, which contains exempt information relating to an individual, and information which is likely to reveal the identity of an individual, which should be exempt, and the press and public excluded from the meeting when these are discussed, and that there is public interest in maintaining the exemption. It outweighs the public interest of disclosure. I would therefore propose to the panel that we go into exempt session for items 5 and 6. Are we all in favour of that? That's a unanimous decision. Thank you.